Hi everyone, I'm Grace from Gardening for Joy, and this is actually the third in a series of videos that I'm doing on pressing summer flowers. The focus of today's video is going to be on sunflowers. I have two different varieties of sunflowers growing in my garden right now. One are these yellow ones, right? More traditional sunflower, and one are these multicolored sunflowers, which are also really very, very pretty, right? Yeah. So let's talk about sunflowers. They kind of fall into what I would say the more difficult category of flowers to press. And why is that? Well, the problem with the sunflower, and really this one here is a good example. Um, the problem with the sunflower is the centerpiece, right? And as the sunflower matures in its growth cycle, the centerpiece continues to get bigger and bigger because that's where all the seeds are, right? All the seeds will ultimately form in that centerpiece, and so that centerpiece grows bigger and bigger. And so the bigger that centerpiece grows, the more difficult it becomes to press. So in this particular case, this is one that is probably borderline. I probably could try to press it, but again, it's got a huge, thick centerpiece, and I really don't think it would come out that great. So this is probably one I would not press. However, what I might do instead is this flower has beautiful petals, right? And what I could do is I could peel off, just go to the bottom, peel off the individual petals. And, there's always some use for individual petals when you're doing a pressed flower arrangement. So don't neglect the idea of just using the individual petals. Again, go to the base of the petal, just pull it off. It just comes right out. I'll do that one more time. So that's an option. If you have a sunflower, you can always use the petals of it, even if you don't press the full flower. Now, contrast that with this one that I really got right when it opened, right? So it just opened, and I snipped it so that this center really didn't have the opportunity to get so big. So I am going to go ahead, I'm just going to flip the stem, and then behind here, there's actually a little bud. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a little bud there. So look for buds. I'm going to take the bud off because that just adds complication to pressing. So I'm going to make sure there's no buds. However, I will probably leave the leaves on it because they're really kind of pretty, right? And they add a nice touch. Whether you have two options, right? You can clip the leaves off and you can just dry them separately, which is fine, and that works perfectly. But in this case, I'm going to go ahead and leave the leaves on. So I'm just going to lay it flat. I'm going to put the leaves below it, knowing that the leaves are going to be a little bit covered by the petals, but that's okay. I do things differently, and maybe I'll show you that with the next sunflower. So the next sunflower that I have are these pretty yellow ones. Love them. So let me take one out. I'm going to clip the stem a little bit, right? Really pretty. So again, the centerpiece hasn't had the opportunity to grow pretty big. Again, I try to cut these right when I see them opening, the day that they open, so that the centers don't get that big. In this particular case, I'm going to go ahead and cut the leaf off of it, right? I'm going to place the sunflower down. I'm going to kind of push the stem down a little bit, right? So it kind of lays flat when I press it. They're pretty flexible, the stems, so you usually don't have to worry about breaking them. And now this is a good example of what I call not perfect. So this leaf, as you can see, looks like maybe a bug took a bite out of it, right? It's not the perfect leaf, but I'll go ahead and press it just for purposes of showing you, but normally I probably wouldn't use this leaf because I want leaves that are perfect in my flower arrangements as opposed to something that's been kind of chewed on by a bug. But it's pretty easy. I'm just going to lay it down, and leaves press really, really very nicely. So no issue there. Right? And then I have this sunflower. It's exactly the same variety as the other one, right? Really, it's just a little bit bigger. Now this one again, it has a bud on the back. Buds can add a really nice touch to your flower arranging, but again, I find that they just complicate things a little bit when you're actually pressing them. So I'm going to go ahead and snip off the bud, and I'm also this one has a little leaf on the back of it. And if I just leave the leaf there, which I could, it'll just get obscured by the flower. So I actually this is a beautiful, perfect leaf. So I'm going to just pinch that off because I actually want to press it by itself. I had some of the yellow from the flower come out. I'm going to put it down. I'm going to lay that stem down because it's really nice to have the stems. Again, could do them separately too. And there I have another little buggy friend there that is part of the problem when you are pressing your flowers from your garden. I'm going to take the leaf. Now I'm also, again, another not perfect leaf on the bud because it has a little bit of a hole in it. So I would probably go back out to the garden, look for leaves that are perfect. This is one that I really wouldn't want to use. So I'll just put that aside. So there I have it. From the sunflower that I really felt the center was too big, just pulled off some petals to use. I could add more petals if I wanted to. Otherwise, I'm just going to place them flat with the leaves. You can leave the leaves on and just see if you can position them as you place the next piece of paper on top of them. So I will just do that, right? Cover it with another piece of white paper, and then cover it with cardboard. So there you have it. Pressing sunflowers, again, they do tend to be one of the more difficult flowers to press, but they are so pretty to use in flower arranging. Maybe the ones that they sell in supermarkets, maybe they're specifically bred to not have those big thick centers, and they might be good candidates for pressing. But they do press nicely. They just take a little bit of time. In the microwave, you have to be a little bit careful with them and press them slowly from a time perspective. I usually start out with 15 seconds and then kind of increase it. But the centers of the sunflower is really what takes the time to dry out. So just patience is involved there. Well, there you have it, the third series, and that talked about, and today we talked about pressing sunflowers. I hope you give it a try because they're really great to use in pressed flower art. Leave me any comments and I'll try to answer them. Thanks for joining, and I'll see you next time.